Alright, very excited because I recently purchased this 1995 Mitsubishi Delica Spacegear, also known as the L400. This is the successor to the Delica Star Wagon, aka L300. Now, this particular Spacegear has completed its maintenance and will arrive in the US shortly. But before I ship it out, let me show you around it. This 4th generation Delica was sold in Japan from 1994 to 2007. Domestically, it was branded as the Spacegear, but outside of Japan, it was commonly referred to as the L400. Regardless of the naming, this generation Delica and its predecessor were never sold in North America. And that's surprising, considering the practicality, reliability, and off-road capabilities of Delicas. When I first saw pictures of the Spacegear, I didn't understand the popularity of it. To me, it looked like a minivan. But after purchasing one and seeing it in person, I realized that the pictures don't do it justice. And that's because this car has crazy road presence. It's 6 feet 8 inches tall, 4-wheel drive, and it has tons of trinkets and accessories that make it stand out from its competitors. Personally, I do prefer the design and styling of the Star Wagon, but this Spacegear is definitely growing on me. Starting out front, you have this cool air intake and this massive grille guard accentuated by these fog lights, and you have this like barrier thing right here as well, which is really cool. Moving over to the side, you have these huge wheel wells. I put on some all-terrain tires, definitely recommend that if you want that beefy all-terrain look, and of course if you're gonna go off-roading. Coming back here, you have this cool logo, Intercooler Turbo 2800 for that 2.8 liter engine. And coming back to the rear, nothing too special here. You can get it fitted with a ladder and a roof spoiler. This one obviously doesn't have it, but what it does have is this aftermarket exhaust, which I think is a great touch. This has Mitsubishi's 4M40 engine. It's a turbocharged straight 4 diesel that puts out 140 horsepower. That's about 45 more horsepower than the Star Wagon. What's more, these parts and components are easier to maintain and more reliable than its predecessor. Moving on to the interior, the first thing you notice with this particular Spacegear is this tiny steering wheel. We'll see how it handles on the road. Obviously, it's still missing this horn. Going to the dashboard, it's a continuation of that round 90s design. For better or for worse, you have the stereo, you have the AC, and you also have the altimeter, which I think is a great carryover from the Star Wagon. This one has this plasticky wood trim. You have to be careful because it does crack easily, but I do like the look of it. On the passenger end, you do have that grab handle, which is pretty cool as well. Unfortunately, the shift gear lever is on the steering wheel column. And I say unfortunately because in the Star Wagon, you used to have the shift gear lever here and it was really cool looking. It also had a nice center console as well. And in this one, you have nothing here. The only saving grace is you do have the 4-wheel drive lever here, and it does get you into high and low, but it feels like Mitsubishi just forgot about this space. Officially, this Spacegear fits 7 passengers. Although it is a little more comfortable with 6, 7 is definitely doable. You can have 3 in the back and have lots of knee room and obviously lots of headroom as well. Coming up to the second row, because this one has the captain's chairs, both passengers back here can be very comfortable. Obviously, enough knee room and a lot of headroom. As is common with other trunks of vans from this era, you don't have too much depth. However, you can stack things pretty high up. If you do need more space, however, what you can do is take off the headrest, recline this back, pull this up, down, and clamp this to give yourself a flat bed. And obviously you could do it on both sides. I have plenty more retro van videos coming up soon. To keep up to date, please subscribe. Now let's go for a drive. Driving the Delica Spacegear. The first thing you notice when you sit down is you have this commanding driver's position. It really makes you feel like you're king of the road because you're so high up, and because you're pretty close to the front, it also gives you like a sweet angle. It's a little hard to describe in words, but I really like this seating position. A big difference between this and the Star Wagon is the amount of power that this has. It has 45 more horsepower than the Star Wagon, and you could definitely feel it. this feels much more like a modern car than the old classic that the Star Wagon is. In terms of handling, I do think it does handle better than the Star Wagon, although it's a little hard to tell with this tiny steering wheel. I do like this steering wheel though, it's a lot of fun. In terms of suspension, you do feel bumps, and because I do have this all-terrain tires on here, they're a little more noticeable. But altogether, I think it's a pretty comfortable ride. This Spacegear has a pretty big fan base in Japan. I imagine it's because this is a pretty big vehicle, especially in this country where it's dominated by those smaller vans. Another reason why I think a lot of people love this car is because you could customize it, you could get ladders, spoilers like I mentioned, and the other trinkets to make it look cool and really make it your own car. 3 things I love about this car. Number 1, in addition to the grille guard in the front, you have these running boards and mud flaps on both sides of the car, and in the rear you do have this rear guard bar, all of which make this car look very aggressive. Number 2, there's just so much you can do with these seats. Flip this up for more space, forward and backwards. You can lean it, recline it that is, and my favorite, which is turning it around. Another party trick is that in the 3rd row, you recline it back. You can recline this back as well. On the 2nd row, you take off the headrests. Recline these back. Let me get out of the way here. Recline this back as well. And you get a flattish bed, which is perfect for some Z's. I love this fabric. Feels really nice. Number 3, this is the short wheelbase version of the Spacegear, and it's 15 feet and 4 inches long. To put that into perspective, it's about the same length as a Toyota Corolla. Even though it looks deceptively big, it should be easy to navigate in town. What are my final thoughts of this van? I do prefer the design of the Star Wagon inside and out. However, this Spacegear is a better drive and easier to maintain. Ultimately, if you're looking for that off-roader that can fit your friends and family, and you love that 90s design element, you'll definitely want to check one of these bad boys out. Thanks for watching. I do love this Spacegear and I hate to see it go. But like always, I have more retro van videos coming soon, so stay tuned for the next episode.